Hi guys, it's Chef Nick from the Fat Sparrow Group. Welcome back into my kitchen. Today we're cooking a Yucatan style whitefish wrapped in banana leaf. This is a head chef level recipe. This one's gonna take some skills. You've probably built them up by now or you wouldn't be here. Let's see what's in our box. We've got our Yucatan pickled onions from Taco Farm. We've got some grilled pineapple tomato salsa from Taco Farm. We have a lovely tomato, garlic. I have some table salsa, some olive oil, our 3 chili banger sauce, a lime, our frijoles negro or just black beans, long grain rice, cilantro, our whitefish portions, and our banana leaf. All right, this is gonna be exciting. Hope you guys are up for the challenge. Let's get into the food and see what we can make. Awesome, so we're gonna cook our Yucatan style whitefish wrapped in banana leaf. This is something that you could repeat for a number of different dishes. If it works well with the whitefish, you could switch to almost any type of fish. We could do mussels in there, shrimp. Pork is done really well. There's a famous Mexican dish with pork and achiote and all kinds of different things. In Peru, they cook with banana leaf a lot. In Thailand and East Asia, it's used a lot. So if you have some fun with this dish, you're probably gonna have some leftover banana leaf. Try it, try something else. It imparts a beautiful flavor, and it also helps us get just a really lovely texture and really intense flavors as everything kind of concentrates within the wrap. So without much further ado, we'll set this aside. Let's get working on our ingredients. We're gonna do our mise en place, get everything out of the way before we tackle wrapping the banana leaf. So step one, we're gonna marinate our fish in some of our 3 chili banger sauce. This is a sauce that we've used at Taco Farm since we first opened. It's 3 different chilies that are toasted off and then stewed away with some vinegar and some cilantro, and then we add some garlic last second and just puree it up. It's really pungent, really spicy. Well, I shouldn't say it's really spicy. It's got a really nice heat to it, but it's got more flavor than heat. Lots of smokiness, lots of bitterness, really, really awesome stuff. When that has time to sort of hang out on this fish and then steam inside this banana packet, we're gonna get a really beautiful aroma. We're also gonna get a really deep, beautiful red color. I know it looks sort of black at first, but as it starts to bleed into the fish, you can see it's picking up some of those reds. This is a sauce we're really proud of at Taco Farm. It goes well on almost every dish we make, but particularly with our fish tacos. So I think it's gonna lend itself really well to this. So we've got our 3 chili banger sauce on our whitefish. I'm gonna set this aside. It'd be good to let this hang out for about 20 minutes. Luckily, everything else will take me about that long. The next thing we'll do is fuss around with our banana leaf. So we're gonna roll these guys up into squares. This is the size fish you've got to worry about wrapping. So cut squares, I've set in the instructions to be about 12 inches square. They don't have to be perfectly square, but they should be around 12 inches or bigger. But just keep in mind that that's what you're trying to wrap up. So if you've ever wrapped a Christmas present, I think you can handle this. So let's start by just cutting our banana leaf into squares. And then the banana leaf has this seam edge to it, where the actual, like this is the center of the bigger leaves. We're gonna take that off too, just because it'll be difficult to fold later on. So we can take that off and we'll set it aside. So I've got 1 square here. I'm gonna need at least 2, but I'm probably gonna cut a 3rd, maybe even a 4th in case I have a crack and I need to double wrap them. It doesn't always happen that you need to double wrap them, but in the event that I do, I'm gonna have my pieces on hand. Cutting away all those veins, setting them aside. Then I've got 1 piece left, and I'm actually gonna cut this guy into strips, and we'll use these strips to tie our bundles up when we're done. So I'm just gonna cut a bunch of strips. I may need to tie these strips together to make them long enough to get around, we'll see. In the meantime, I'll just make sure I have enough. So that's 4, 5, 6, that ought to do the trick. And I've got exactly this much extra banana leaf. Who knows what I could do with that, but at the very least, I could use it as some plating presentation later. But I'm not gonna throw that out, we'll set it aside. These veiny pieces I am gonna toss. So these banana leaves have a bit of a sort of a dustiness to them almost from their time in the package. So I'm just gonna give them a quick rinse just to wash them off, and then I'll come right back. So give these a rinse. The next thing I'm gonna do, I've got my rinsed off banana leaves. They're still a little wet, that's okay. We're actually just gonna gently toast them over an open flame. We're doing this to sort of activate the waxes that sort of exist in the leaves. We just wanna do that, it'll help soften them up, make it a little easier to work with, a little less brittle. So you don't wanna necessarily cook them or toast them or char them or anything like that. We're just giving them a light pass over the fire. And you can almost smell it immediately, the smell of the leaf itself kind of coming to life. So we'll just repeat that a couple times. If you've got an electric burner at home, the same thing will work. You're just gonna wanna not really make contact with that electric burner because it'll sort of burn holes in it on site. So you'll just sort of pass it over it. You could also do this in a broiler if you wanted. But like I said, we're just trying to kind of warm the thing through just to activate some of those natural waxes that exist. You might be smart to do this with tongs so you're not burning your fingertips like I am, but you do you. Our banana leaves are toasted, our fish is marinating, time to smash some garlic. You guys know the drill. Garlic on the board, knife over top. Just hit it with the palm of your hand a couple times just to give it a good crush. We'll set that aside. Next, we're just gonna cut our lime into wedges. This is just for garnish later, so cut them however you like. And if it's got a big membrane in the center, just take that out. Just makes juicing it easier later on. Next, we're gonna chop our cilantro. So nothing to it, just give it a quick chop. We don't wanna cut it too much. We want stems and all in this recipe. So that's about it. I've given it a really rough chopping and we'll set that aside. And then our final bit of mise en place before we can move on to cooking is just to slice this tomato. The tomato is gonna go inside the banana leaf with the fish. So we're just gonna slice it about 1/3 of an inch thick. And you're gonna wanna end up with an even amount of slices. So I'm gonna end up with 4 slices, 2 per piece, and I'm gonna eat this just to make my problems go away. All right, so we're gonna get to folding up our fish packages. So what we're gonna do is just build up these packages. We're gonna layer it a little bit. So I wanna end up with the fish in the middle, just so that it is in the most gentle spot of the whole package. So we're gonna start with putting a little bit of cilantro down first. So I'll put a little cilantro down on the bottom of this banana leaf, and let's start down here in what I'm calling the 6 o'clock position of the leaf. If you picture this as a clock, this is 6 o'clock. So we're gonna fold it, roll it all up. We wanna end up there. So I've got a little bit of cilantro down, then I'll take a few of my pickled onions, and I'll put those down, and then I'll take 1 slice of my tomato, and I'll put that down. Now I'm gonna take my fish. You know what? We should season that. There's no salt on that tomato, so let's put a little. And then we're gonna take our marinated piece of fish. We'll just slide it right on top, just like so. And then we can just redo the layers again. So then I'll take my slice of tomato. I'm gonna season that slice of tomato. We'll take our pickled onions, and then we'll take a little bit of cilantro. Now, we're gonna try and fold this bad boy up. So we're just gonna take our banana leaf, fold it in on either side, then starting at this end, just like a burrito, we're just gonna roll this bad boy up. You can be kind of tough, like you can apply a little bit of pressure to it, because that banana leaf is pretty strong, and it's not gonna tear on you. And if it does, that's why we've got our second piece that we would have used to make sure it was fully secured. So now that I've got my fish all bundled up in there, I'm just gonna take a piece of our banana leaf that we cut earlier and secure it. And it was literally just long enough, which doesn't allow me to do a double knot. So you know what? I'm gonna double this up anyways. So just take 2 pieces, link it together like a broken shoelace. We've all been there before. Tie that off. Now we've got a piece that's twice as long. So take a second, rebundle it, and then take our leaf, tie it around. This way I can get a nice double knot, and I'm quite confident that that's secure. So there you go. Our beautiful little whitefish packages. Looks good on both sides. It's ready to go to the barbecue. I'm gonna do my second leaf. We'll just do the same thing over again. The beauty of these things is you can do them the day ahead of time if you want. Stick them in your fridge, just leave them there until you're ready to go. It's a bit intimidating, but once we're at this stage, it's really quite easy. So we've got our beautiful little parcels of fish. We're gonna set those aside. I'm gonna make my rice next, warm up my beans, and then we'll head outside and grill these guys. All right, so now we'll get into our rice and beans. So we've got our black beans. These are just simply simmered in some garlic and some onions and some bay leaf and some salt. We've done that for you. All you need to do with these guys is reheat them. So throw them into a pot, and then I would fill this back up about halfway with water and just add that to it. It's not the most crucial part of the recipe. It really just depends how you like your beans. I like mine with a little bit of a gravy kind of thing from their own starches. So I've got my beans on the low simmer. I've added a little water to them just so they'll have a nice sort of stew, sort of gravy vibe to them. Now let's worry about our rice. So into our pan goes our olive oil. I'm using a heavy bottom pan. This is a small little Dutch oven. Any pan will do, something like that would work. Just be mindful you're not scorching your rice. I like these heavy bottom pans because they really hold their heat well. So when it comes time to turn that heat down to a simmer, I know that the entire thing is really nice and hot and it's gonna keep that heat. Really helps me cook a nice even rice. So we've got our garlic in the pan with our olive oil. Let's throw a little salt in there and then we will throw our rice grains. I'm gonna wait until that garlic browns just a little bit and then we'll get cooking. All right, my garlic has begun to brown on me. It's looking really good. My next step will be to throw in my rice. You could take this garlic further if you wanted, or you could not even brown it at all. But I do like to add a little bit of brown to it. It gives it a nice sort of sweet, bitter, kind of caramelized flavor. Now goes in our rice. If you've done rice with me before, you know that this step is where we're toasting the grains off. So the rice, when it starts, it's got this sort of translucent, cloudy look to it. As we toast it, it gets more and more white. I'm looking for most of my grains to be nice and white before I take it to the next step. We do our rice in a 1 to 1.5 ratio, meaning 1 part rice, 1.5 parts liquid. So we sent you the rice in the container on purpose. It was filled to the top, whether you got the twice the size or this size. So you're gonna wanna fill this 1.5 times. Now keep in mind, we are adding our salsa to it as well. So make sure that's part of your ratio count. So I put my water in this container and then I'm gonna fill this up with water and that'll be my first part of water. So you can see my grains are starting to get nice and white, nice and toasted, smells fantastic. I am just about ready to add my liquid. So I'm gonna fill my water up. By the time I get back, I'll be ready. Okay, so I've got my 1 part water that's been mixed with that salsa. In it goes. You can tell how ready that pan was. Now I'm gonna do a 1/2 part more water. Okay, there you go, in that goes. That ratio works for most grains of rice. There are some that'll be different, but most grains of rice are about a 1 to 1.5 ratio. All right, my water's simmering away. My rice is ready for the lid. I'm gonna throw the lid on. I'm gonna leave it for about 10 minutes on simmer or as low as you can get your stovetop to go, and we won't touch it for about 10 minutes. We'll come back and check it. It should be done at that point. We'll just turn it off. This is good to go. All right, let's put our whitefish on the grill. So we're just gonna put these banana leaf bundles directly on our highest heat and let them go. All right, now you can see after about 10 minutes, they've browned up nicely. I'm just gonna flip them over. You're starting to see how that smoke and that char flavor is gonna really penetrate these bundles. This is looking good. All right, now we can see that our fish is ready to come off. You can see that the liquids inside are bubbling away. It's kind of percolating, dripping a bit onto the grill. That's how we can tell that everything inside is really, really hot and all that steam's firing around. So we know at that point that our fish is done. All right, our rice is done. I've turned the heat off and now I'll just set it aside to hang out for a bit. But you can tell it's just perfectly cooked. The grains are all nice and loose. And it's got this nice accent of color and flavor from that little bit of table salsa that we put in there. That's our charred tomato salsa from Taco Farm. It's packed with flavor. It's gonna make this rice really, really tasty. I'm excited. I'm gonna put a lid on this and set it aside. All right, so we brought our parcels in off the grill. Our rice and beans are all good to go. You can see that this banana leaf took on quite a char, but it held up quite nicely. So we've got some nice sort of grill marks on it, some nice obvious char spots, but the interior is gonna be nice and still preserved. So I'm actually gonna show you that now. So we'll open it up. I'm actually gonna use these banana leaves as my plating sort of backdrop. I'm just gonna fold them right open. The smell coming off this right now is fantastic. It's got this beautiful char from the banana leaf, obviously, the intensity of that spice paste that we had put on the fish, the 3 chili banger, the tomatoes, the pickled onions, all that stuff working together. It just smells incredible. So now we'll just kind of put our little side dishes on the plate. I'm gonna throw down a little bit of our beautiful Mexican style rice with that salsa. Then we'll put some of our beautiful frijoles negro, our black beans. You can see what I was talking about. They're kind of just in a nice little bit amount of their own sort of gravy or their own sauce. It's never complete without a lime wedge or two. Mexican food just loves that acidity, that freshness. We've got some more of our pickled onions. I'm just gonna put those with our beans and our rice. And then finally, we have our grilled pineapple tomato salsa. This is gonna be a really nice sort of accoutrement to this dish. Give it some nice sort of fruitiness, some heat. We'll just put that right on the plate there as well. So I'm gonna dig into this. I'm really excited about it. I think this is a dish that you guys are really gonna enjoy cooking at home. It'll put you into a whole new world of chef skills, and it's just something that'll really be a treat for those people lucky enough to spend time with you at the dinner table. I'm excited. I might rip a few tortillas up and get in there with them, put a little extra hot sauce on it. That's how I'm gonna enjoy this. So thank you guys so much for joining me in the kitchen today. From everybody at Fat Sparrow, especially Chef Nick, we're really grateful for your support, and I always love cooking with you guys. So I can't wait till we do the next recipe. Until then, I'm gonna dig in. Cheers, we'll see you next time.